Hey everyone, just for fun, I thought I'd make some short videos showing off some of my commander decks, little deck tech videos kind of thing. I'll start with all of my monocolor decks, and if people like it, maybe I'll do some more. This is my colorless commander deck. It's Kozilek, the Great Distortion. So it says when you cast it, if you have fewer than 7 cards in hand, draw cards equal to the difference. It's a 12/12 menace. Discard your hand, or discard a card with converted mana cost X. Counter target spell with converted mana cost X. Free counter spells. It is 10 mana, so a lot of this deck is going to be focused on ramping. You can never have too much ramp in this deck. Kozilek will just refill your hand anyways, and turns all of your, extra cards into interaction. So, just a few sort of supplemental support cards here, a few extras that didn't really fit into any category. You got some removal. Removal is usually kind of overpriced in colorless, but All Is Dust is great, of course. Just some weird removal pieces because you're Steel Hellkite, Argentum Armor. These cost a lot, but if you can get them going, they are quite powerful. There's your interaction along with Kozilek's free counter spells. A little bit of card draw. Mainly you're going to be focused on ramping up to Kozilek for your card draw, but there is a few extra tutor type things that cost an insane amount of mana, but we might have it sitting around. Just a bit of extra card draw. The main thing you're going to be doing in this deck is playing ramp, so we have a lot of it. We get a little creative with the weird ramp that we play, so like Diamond Lion, why not? Discard my hand if I'm about to draw back up to 7 anyways. Geode Golem could help you get Kozilek out early. Just a bunch of interesting mana ramp. You can just play mana ramp on 1 or 2 mana to ramp into your 4 and 5 mana ramps. You're just ramping into ramp, into more ramp, into Kozilek to redraw your hand. And ultimately what you want to do is play Kozilek, counter their stuff, while also slamming down some big scary creatures. Void Winnower. I don't have all the best Eldrazi, so I'm kind of just playing all the big creatures I do have. I do have some good Eldrazi stuff, but none of the big dollar ones. So that's the plan. GG. So here's kind of an interesting one. This is my mono white commander deck. Darien, King of Kieldor. So kind of the goal of this is kind of like a Pillowfort combo kind of thing. I will start with the basics. So you got some mana ramp. It is kind of mana intensive, so we've got some mana doubler type stuff. Just some good mana ramp. Nothing too crazy. Yeah, there is a couple of placeholders that are in other decks. I guess it hasn't been updated in a while. There's your mana. You got your card draw. Not too much of that. It is mono white. We're not supposed to draw cards. But we got a little bit there. And some good stuff. So when you do hit a card draw PC, you've at least got a good engine going. A little bit of removal here. Some board wipes. Goblin Charbelcher is kind of dual purpose. It can also go in this pile, which is important for the deck's function. I'll show you that in a little bit. Some protection stuff, since it is kind of like a combo. And your commander's 6 mana, and you really want him to live, so you want some protection to keep him alive. Then we got, I think this is just extra stuff. So just good cards, Elish Norn, you're going to be making a lot of 1/1s, hopefully. Felidar Sovereign, another way to win. You're also going to be gaining a lot of life. Just some good cards. Now we've got the main focus of the deck. You want to get Darien into play. You want to get one or ideally multiple soul sister kind of effects out. And then you want to hurt yourself. And that's what this pile's all about. Because once you get this going, other people don't want to hurt you. Whenever you're dealt damage, you may create that many 1/1s. Whenever a creature enters, you gain a life. So you're basically gaining all the life you lose back and creating soldiers. So this is where hurting yourself comes into play. Blasting Station is going to be the main way you'll actually get a combo going to gain infinite life and keep damaging yourself, basically. But then you also get to play all these old, funky cards that people don't really know exist. Now the other kind of funny part of the deck, this is supposed to be an Aetherflux Reservoir, another good way to win. The other kind of funny part of the deck is these two old cards here. So they basically both say, during each upkeep, people take damage for the number of swamps they control. So despite it being a white deck, you also want to play your Urborg, which is in another deck, awkward. But then everyone's taking damage at their upkeep, and you're taking the damage, making the soldiers, gaining the life back. You also play some funky lands that deal damage to you, because you really just want any way to hurt yourself. Turner Citadel, cool stuff. GG's. This is my mono blue commander deck. Wizard Tribal. Got Azami, Lady of Scrolls as the commander. Tap an untapped wizard you control to draw a card. So you're going to be drawing a lot of cards. It is mono blue after all. Start with a removal. Got a lot of wizard-based removal. Memnarch, if you can make infinite mana, just kind of wins you the game. Yeah, a lot of wizard-based removal, some counter spells, of course. Capsize also goes great with infinite mana. It is a combo deck. But I also just like playing a bunch of cool old wizards. Look at those. Classic counter spell. You got some mana ramp. Nothing too crazy, except this guy's pretty cool. Some mana reducers. And High Tide, of course. Now you are going to be drawing tons of cards with Azami, but you got some extra card draw. So just double up your draws. I don't know how realistic that is, 7 mana, but you gotta have Azami's Familiar in Azami's deck, of course. Tomorrow, pretty cool. This is pretty much to find your, I guess, knowledge pool. We'll get to that later. I think this is just like support stuff. Double up your wizards. Give everything flash speed. Just search through people's deck to rip out their combos or something. You know, just weird stuff. These are also just some small wizards that can be tapped for, you know, get a few wizards down before you play Azami, and you can start tapping them right away. And then I guess this pile, I mean, there's a few cool lands in this deck, so, but anyways. But then this pile is this is the win pile. So Mind Over Matter, pretty much a combo with Azami to just draw and discard through your whole deck, find exactly what you want. Pilipala and Grand Architect will get you infinite mana. Knowledge Pool into Fairy will lock everybody else out from playing spells. Triskaidekaphile, I don't think I've ever had that work, but I don't know, you're drawing a lot of cards, it's a wizard, why not? Intruder Alarm, just draw a ton of cards every time something comes into play. And then this is the main thing. I used to have Das's Oracle in here too, but it's in another deck right now. But you get your foil Labman and either a Leveler or Thought Lash to empty your deck, tap a wizard, win the game. Good game. Right, here is my mono black commander deck. It's a bit of a weird one. It's rule 0, which in this case means it has an illegal commander. is this land. And that's because if I make a bunch of creatures, I can pay 5 mana, sacrifice 5 creatures to transform it. So really, I wanted to play Ormendahl as my commander. It's a 9/7 flying lifelink indestructible haste. Your whole plan can come crashing down thanks to 1 swords to plowshares, but it is what it is. Let's get started. Play this just for fun. Why not? Kind of a backup commander. You could try to sneak Vecna out. You've got your mana ramp. That's not really mana ramp, but it's mana denial for your opponents. Other than that, you get some rituals, some usual rocks. Stuff like Carnival of Souls can get out of hand, make you a ton of mana. Black Market as well. Reveling Riches, good mana ramp, and alternate win condition. A little bit of removal here. There's like playing weird, weird old removal cards. Dictative Erebos, kind of mean, but in a deck like this with all the sacrificing, Butcher Malakir is the same. You're really going to control the board of creatures. Card draw. Now, I think this deck might need a little bit of balancing. I could go a little shorter in some of the other categories here to get more sacrifice fodder. So I will be working on that at some point. But you got a bunch of card draw. A little bit of tutor stuff just to keep churning through your deck. I think at one point I didn't have enough card draw. I may have overcorrected, but it's hard to have too much card draw. Some extra support cards and whatnot. Tainted Strike, if you do get to flip Ormendahl, that'd be a one-shot kill. Just some support stuff. And then you have some sacrifice fodder. Just the creatures that will be feeding to our Abbey in order to summon Ormendahl. Hendrik Sar is one of the better token creators here. Waken the Erstwhile is probably the rudest card in the deck. Each player discard all the cards in their hand, create that many 2/2 black zombies. So everyone loses their cards, but you get the zombies you need to summon Ormendahl. GG. So this is one of them on a red commander decks. Chandra Tribal. Jaya Ballard as your commander. I think there's some lore reason for that. I don't follow that too much, but basically the idea is play every Chandra whether it's good or not. There might be a few that have come out since. I don't really keep up that much anymore, but at the time I had every single Chandra and a few honorary Chandras there. Got just some support cards, a couple of things to double up your planeswalkers, some hate stuff like Blood Moon, just some fun stuff. Kozilek's pretty good in a planeswalker deck. You got some mana, acceleration, some of the high value stuff because we're playing every Chandra. The average cost of your cards is pretty high. There's some rituals, the usual suspects. This deck could work on draw a little more. Don't have too much in that, but there are some Chandras that will exile cards off the top to get you some more cards. And then we've got your interaction. So a few things to help stop creatures from killing all your planeswalkers. Some board wipes. And a bit of a jerk in this deck. You've got your land destruction for once you're all set up with a bunch of planeswalkers. Wipe away their lands. And then World Fire goes well with your Awakened Inferno for a combo. Good game. This is another mono red commander deck of mine. Goblin Tribal. Got Muxus, Goblin Grandee is your commander. It started life as Krenko. Actually, it was Perfrost before that, but I just find it a little more fun personally. You get to play some fun mana stuff in goblins, like some good rituals, Skirt Prospector, some altars. That's about it. You got your stack of goblins here. Just your usual, you know, I do pick stuff based on just what I like, not necessarily the best. So there's the old commander. Got a little bit of removal. Possible win conditions. That's one of my favorite cards in the deck. Get that together with Krenko and people have a hard time keeping creatures on the board. You get a little bit of card draw or you know, tutors, things like that. Some of these old fun goblin specific tutors. Just the odd wheel, just need to refill our hand. And then a little bit of support stuff. So this is not usual include in a goblin deck, but with Muxus it goes really well. Something Closet. Perfrost, the original commander of the deck. And just mostly some fun old stuff, like, come on, you gotta include that in a goblin deck. Blood Moon, it's a mono red deck. I don't know why I'm like I am. There we go. Good game. Alright, here's one of my mono green commander decks. You've got Kesa as your commander. I threw this whole deck together because I saw this card and was like, oh, that's cool. I like Rebecca's art. We'll make it. All green creatures get +1/+1 for 5 mana. It's not very good, but we'll just have fun with it. So start with the basics. Got some mana ramp. It's pretty basic stuff. I mean, it's mono green. You got to have more mana than everyone else. Yeah, I used to like to play with the foil peels. So there you go. Mana ramp. Even though it's mono green, we snuck in some removal here. So we even have a couple of board wipes with Azuri's Predation and the Great Aurora. A few spot removal things. There you go. You don't get much interaction, you're mono green. And these are kind of draw adjacent tutors, stuff like that. Creature doublers. Some tutors, some card draw. I do like this deck, so I just put some cool cards in there. There's some weird ones here, like that just repeatedly allow you to tutor for more creatures into play and things like that. Anyways, but the idea of the deck, since all Kesa does is give a little anthem to green creatures, is go wide and then buff them all up. So, we got a couple more categories before we get into that. Some more interaction. This could kind of go in this pile. Some stacks kind of pieces. Revelation, just weird old cards that I thought looked fun. And some protection stuff. This Tamiyo's Safekeeping. I don't know if you can see it. I opened out of a pack. It has 2 square corners. It's kind of neat. And then the ultimate goal of the deck here. Play one of these kind of armies in a can that just come down and make a ton of creatures all by themselves. So step 1, play one of these guys. Go wide with a bunch of little tokens. And then buff them up for the win. That can also make infinite mana with creatures that can tap for more than 3. But get all of your little tokens and buff them up. Trying for the hordes, something like that. And go for the win. GG's. This is my other mono green deck, is Snake Tribal. Another pretty casual one. It's not very good, but I like it. You got Seshiro the Anointed as your commander. Other snakes you control get +2/+2. And when a snake you control deals combat damage to a player, you may draw a card. So really powerful, but it is 6 mana. It's a hefty price. So why don't we start with mana ramp? You got some snake mana ramp. You know, the one thing about this deck is I haven't updated it since they changed. I forget the creature type into snakes, so it could use an update. But anyways, mana ramp. Just your basic, a few elves just to get the 1 mana ramp in there, but as many snake-based mana ramp as we can get. Yeah. I like that one. It's cool art too. Nature stuff. Oh, a few more snakes. So these are, I don't know, lore-wise, you kind of gotta include this, right? It's just too perfect. Daughter of Seshiro. And I don't really know the lore, but hey, it looks like they go well. You get a little bit of interaction, not too much. Again, mono green, but there's some decent stuff. And then this is kind of an interesting one. Green used to just really hate blue and black, so probably can't read that, but look it up. It's weird and really mean. Got some card draw. Again, snake-based card draw where applicable. You do have a lot of good card draw with Seshiro, but again, it is expensive, so you want a little bit extra to supplement it. Got a little bit of protection kind of spells. Keep your Seshiro around once you have it. Steely Resolve's really good. A couple more just buff spells to get your snakes to a big enough point that they're actually scary. And then, last but not least, you've got all your snakes. Some fun. A lot of them have like Swamp Walk or Island Walk, so you can often get some of them through somewhere to get your card draw and everything going. Again, a lot of them hate blue and black. I don't know if it was just snakes in general or just green in general. Anyways, you get to play some weird stuff. Good Hydra, make a bunch of snakes. There are a few, like this is one of my favorite cards in the deck here. Whenever an opponent plays a blue or black spell, you can put a 1/1 green snake into play. Yes, please. Seshiro's son over here. We met the daughter earlier. Endless Swarm. How could you not put this in a snake deck? It's epic, so you're not going to be playing anything else the rest of the game. But hey, if you have your board protected already, you have Seshiro out, maybe just for fun. There we go. Snakes, Danger Noodle.